You're listening to an Airwave Media podcast.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end...
What will I become?
Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
Recorded in Chicago, Illinois, with your hosts, Ken, Matt, Neal, and Jeff. This is Triviality.
Hello and welcome to Triviality, the game where a lack of seriousness meets a little bit of knowledge. My name is Jeff, and I am unusually kicking off things today.
Thank you for your service.
Pressured into it by the
Thank
guys
you for
in the
your
studio.
pressured service.
Peer pressure.
But yeah, I've got my normal
Cohorts?
That's the word I was going for. Yep. So I've got my normal cohorts in the studio. I'm looking over here at Ken and Neal's lovely faces. How you guys doing today?
I'm just worried about Matt.
Yeah, I'm worried about Matt too. I don't know.
What's going on with Matt?
Well, I don't know if you saw in the news, but he was one of the many victims of Stanley from The Office soliciting money on Kickstarter, the $100,000 that he had to return. So luckily, Matt got his money back, and so he took that money, and right now he's on the advisory board of a DJ Scat Cat, Comic-Con convention type thing that's
99,000 of that was Matt.
It was. And now he's running this DJ Scat Cat thing in Boise, Idaho. So good luck to him.
Cashing all that Bitcoin has, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's right. And what do you think about Stanley? You're a big Office fan, and so is Ken.
I know if it was Kevin, he would be smart enough that he wouldn't have to pay it back. So
Kevin's just doing commercials.
Well, commercials, and he's making bank on his cameo and radio show. So I mean, good for him.
I don't really need a Stanley standalone show, though. I don't.
Yeah, I'm no Stanley Stan myself, but
okay, yeah, that's true. But I could see you guys being a fan of like a Creed standalone.
Of course, Creed.
I don't think any of the characters on that show can do it by themselves.
But would you pay to see a movie called Creed, which is a shot-for-shot remake of Michael B. Jordan's Creed, but starring Creed?
I've seen 3 of those, actually.
But starring Creed, though.
Yeah, I'd watch 4 of those.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I would agree. They can't support a show, but I'd be in for the chaos of a Creed pilot. So
all right, well that's not too bad then. But speaking of supporting characters on The Office, we have
well
some...
done. I was like, how are we going to transition this?
We have some really great supporting characters today, Jeff. Why don't you introduce them?
Yeah, why don't we start with today's guest, who's going to be partnering up with you, Neal. We've got Jared Tao coming to us from Tampa, Florida. Jared is an Oakland 5 patron, which we greatly appreciate. Jared, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe how you got into trivia or found our show?
Hey guys, thanks. So really appreciate the opportunity to be on this show. So I started listening to Triviality actually about 6 or 7 months ago. I've always been a fan of bar trivia. Me and my buddies, we used to go to Buffalo Wild Wings every Wednesday and play. And I was just trying to find another pastime kind of to fill that trivia void. And then that's how I found you guys. And then, yeah, so living in Tampa right now. I'm actually in the Air Force. That's why I'm out here. I got stationed out here at MacDill. But yeah, thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming on and joining us. Appreciate your listenership and support. But Neal, of course, would always say that we can't have a game without a host. So we've got another Oakland 5 patron coming to us from Fairfield, California, and that is Corey Uhalde. How you doing today, Corey?
Doing great. Was just appreciating the Office intro and wondering, thinking to myself, if I'd rather be feared or loved, and it's easy both. I definitely want people to be afraid of how much they love me. So.
Good point.
Glad that you appreciated that. We don't always get that immediate feedback on how these bits go. So glad we could.
Are you superstitious or a little stitious?
I'm just a little stitious.
Okay.
Oh, makes sense. It seems like a practical kind of guy. But Corey, so why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what we're going to be up to today?
As you mentioned, I live in Fairfield, California. It's sort of equidistant between San Francisco and Sacramento. I'm a high school teacher in the San Francisco Bay Area, credentialed in social studies, but moved over several years back, and now I teach the leadership and student activities programs at our school. So we put on the dances and the pep rallies that everyone's familiar with, but also focus on community outreach, reaching different 4 corners of our campus and stuff as well. So definitely a passion of mine. And I also just want to say that I got my start with trivia games as a classroom teacher, writing these games for my sophomore and junior world history and U.S. history classes. And then during the pandemic shutdown, when everybody had to lock themselves in their basements, my school asked if there was something we could do to kind of boost camaraderie and morale. And so I started writing these games for our staff members, and they became a little bit of a social haven for people. And then we continued those out through 2020 and ran some online games. And so that's sort of where this all comes from.
Well, that sounds awesome and fulfilling. Glad you found your niche there at the high school level. And without further ado, let's pick some team names, shall we? Jared, I think you had an idea for your team, which is you and Neal.
Yeah, so I like to stick with like current event team names. So something that happened recently, big college football guy. With the recent moves in the conferences, the Big Ten recently scooped up Washington and Oregon, taking us to 18 total teams. That in combination with the new 12-team playoff expansion seems like college football's headed for a little bit of a hectic future. So I was thinking about the team name NC Mayday.
NC Mayday, all right. And you know what's on top of my mind, Neal?
Yeah, you went to go see the movie Talk to Me.
Yeah, good Australian film for our Australian listeners.
And I believe it's getting a sequel already.
Already?
Yeah.
Well, I think it deserves a sequel. It was pretty good. The idea of the movie, though, is that these like teens sort of use this spiritual ghost connection as like a party device to kind of like TikTok and, you know.
Oh, like when we used to play with the Ouija board?
Yeah, kind of like that. But it's like
legit.
It like works. So I'm like, nope, not for me. Talk to Jeff instead. So we're going to be Talk to Jeff.
All right. Talk to Jeff and NC Mayday.
Don't be talking to me. And speaking of Australia, Neal.
Yeah, let's thank Natalie Anderson for this great rules read. Let's go to Natalie.
The Aussie rules of the game are simple. 20 questions split into 2 rounds worth 10 points apiece. At halftime, there will be a special swing round designed by this week's host. After regulation, players will enter the final round with the points that they've accumulated and will have a chance to wager 0 to 30 points on 5 categorised questions. At the end of the game, someone will be named the cream of the crop.
The cream of the crop. Nobody does it better.
Thank you, Natalie, for the Aussie rules read, as she said.
It's very complicated now with the Aussie rules.
It is.
There's kicking and posts, and I don't know how
Full
it works.
tackle, no pads.
Full tackle,
Yeah,
no,
I don't know if
no
you could,
pads,
I don't know if you
bouncing
could-
every 3 steps or whatever. I don't understand it
10
anymore.
meters, I believe. But also, I don't know if anybody heard, but she had her 17 teammates in the background as well. So you got to really listen up for all those.
Thank you to them. Without further ado, Corey, you want to take it away with question 1?
You got it. We got round 1 here. This is a general knowledge round. So as we sometimes hear on the show, I'll provide categories which may or may not help you get to the answer from the same or a different direction. So round 1, question 1. The category is a good old-fashioned cook-off. And the question, what country is often referred to as País de Poetas, land of the poets? Its southernmost point makes it the southernmost country in the entire world. And just because this is the first question, I've got a few opportunities for some bonus. I figured I'd start out with one. So after that, the 2-point bonus question for this, since this is País de Poetas, name either of the 2 poets from this country who have won the Nobel Prize in Literature.
All right. So Ken and I really collaborated on this one. I seem to know the country. He seemed to know a poet. So we're going to go ahead and lock in.
So, kind of stumped on the poets. I might have an idea about the country. I believe the category was cooking related, and I feel like I've heard Tierra del Fuego might be the southernmost point, and I believe that belongs to Chile. Does it not?
That does sound right.
Okay, so for that one, I think the answer is going to be Chile. As for the poets, I think we're both pretty stumped, so we're just going to go ahead and say Mojo Jojo. And, I'll throw in Maya Angelou.
All right, good guesses.
Both great poets. For the country, Jeff says Argentina, and I said Pablo Neruda.
I totally missed that cooking thing, and I thought there was some...
I said Chile.
I know Chile comes down south of Argentina.
You saw me say it,
But
yeah?
I thought there was some nonsense with islands or something, but
right,
I think
all
I'm
right.
wrong. I think you're right.
The poet I chose was Pablo Neruda.
All right, so we do have some right answers in there somewhere. I think we have a mixed bag here. The clue of good old-fashioned cook-off is a reference, of course, to Chile, and so this is Chile is the answer for the southernmost point of a country in the world. And then the two poets, one a little bit more ambiguous, Gabriela Mistral is the first, but then Pablo Neruda is the Chilean Nobel Prize winner. Great, we'll move on to question number 2 in round number 1. The category here is the art of performance. And the question, Shad Khan, who is of Pakistani descent, is the only non-white majority controlling owner of a National Football League team. Which team, which has never appeared in a Super Bowl, does Khan own?
All right, we're locked in.
I think you know this one, Jared, from your proximity to this team, but I can lock in or say the answer if you don't know it.
So I actually don't know this one. I'm actually from Michigan originally.
Okay.
So I'm a big Lions fan, and I know we've never been to the Super Bowl, but I don't think he's our owner. So.
Well, I think you might have had a tumultuous lifetime, rooting for the Lions, but the fans of this team has also had a very tumultuous time as well. So it's the Jacksonville Jaguars.
All the big cat teams not doing well.
The cat team's not doing well. You're right.
Yeah. Bengals usually bungle. So, but yeah, we said the Jags. So.
So this is one of the big cat teams. This is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Of course, the art of performance, the category there, a reference. That is the slogan or tagline of Jaguar Automotive.
We gotta start listening to the topics here.
I know. I have to pay attention to those
trust
as well.
me, 3 is not going to matter now that we're like...
Yeah, we'll see.
Here is question number 3 with a category that's not going to help you at all. The category is amazing anagrams.
Locked in.
And the question, what company that was founded in the 1850s and dominated the American telegraph industry for more than 100 years before shifting its focus to monetary transfers and financial services, is fittingly an anagram for, quote, no wire unsent?
After hearing this question, I'm pretty sure I know it, so I'm just going to lock in for our team.
Do you have any guesses here, Jeff?
Yeah, I think I just unscrambled it myself. I want to double check the letters, but it looks like it might be Western Union.
Yeah, that looks right.
So that's what I want to go with.
And my brain got a nice transfer from Western Union as well. That's what we locked in with.
That's one you either get to or you don't get to. It is Western Union, the answer for number 3. All right, 3 questions done. We move on to number 4. And question number 4 is a question that will live in infamy. Your question, what recognizable Hollywood film director got his start producing iconic music videos, including Meatloaf's I Would Do Anything for Love and the DeVinels' I Touch Myself? Not to mention an iconic Got Milk commercial featuring Aaron Burr as the question to a call-in radio trivia contest.
So Pearl Harbor's director was...
Michael Bay.
Michael Bay. And I'm pretty sure he directed that Aaron Burr commercial.
That's right.
So.
And since, the day that will live in infamy was Pearl Harbor is what Jeff was getting at.
Correct.
Gotcha. All right, Michael Bay.
We locked in with Michael Bay.
As the camera does a full 360.
Spins around us and something blows up in the background.
So if we look at a question that will live in infamy, that is, of course, a reference to Pearl Harbor, directed by Michael Bay, who also did those music videos and that timeless Aaron Burr commercial. Michael Bay, the answer for number 4.
Nice.
Awesome.
These are great questions so far.
They're very good. Yes. I feel like knowing Michael Bay, too, we should finish the rest of this game and get some spray tan, sweat a lot. Maybe bring this operation down to Miami. I don't know.
Yeah. Get the sign.
Yeah.
I know the peanut butter and jelly sandwich transformed that person's mouth into glue, so.
Great, we'll move on. Question number 5 here in round number 1, and the category is mud on your poker face. This is a question about Disney's 1994 Angels in the Outfield movie that featured a host of recognizable faces. Which 2 actors from the film, both who played Angels players, would go on to win Best Actor Academy Awards? I'll give 5 points for each correct answer. And this is our second bonus point opportunity. This is a 2-point bonus Wagner question. The 1994 Disney version is a remake, actually, of a 1951 film. And of course, the Angels weren't around then. What National League team was featured in the 1951 original? That's a 2-point bonus opportunity.
Jared, I hate to close our discussions on this one, but I can lock in all three if you're okay with that.
That's perfectly fine with me. I have no idea on any of these answers.
Okay, you'll know who they are, but I'll lock in for us.
Is Angels in the Outfield the one with like Tony Danza and Christopher Lloyd? Am I thinking of the right film?
Yeah. I can't picture anybody but Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Christopher Lloyd, and Danny Glover. I can't picture the players.
Tony Danza, right? Isn't Tony Danza one of the players?
Tony Danza, not an Academy Award winner.
Right.
I'm going to pitch this ball.
He was good, though. He was really good.
2 strikes. I'm ready to go.
I can't picture any of the other players.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Mud on your poker face?
So, good point. There was a movie called Mud with Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, I believe he was in that movie.
And I think he was in that movie.
And I think he won an Academy Award.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
So we'll say Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
And Poker Face. Poker.
For the Austin Sellers Club.
Lady Gaga.
It's not Lady Gaga, obviously. Could it be someone who's like a part of the...
Joaquin Phoenix. Because Lady Gaga's in his new movie. And he won.
Well, he's got a Joker face, but...
Let's say Joaquin Phoenix and...
You think it was Joaquin Phoenix?
No, but let's say Joaquin Phoenix and Matthew McConaughey and the Dodgers.
Okay. I think they're 1 out of 3 on those. Matthew McConaughey is for sure one. He was an outfielder. The other one was Adrian Brody. And the team...
way.
Yeah, and the team in the original, it starred Janet Leigh, Jamie Lee Curtis's mom. It was the Pittsburgh Pirates.
All right, answers here. The 2 future Best Actor winners are Matthew McConaughey, who played outfielder Ben Williams, and then portraying a wily and wiry utility man, Danny Hemmerling, was Adrian Brody. And Mud on Your Poker Face, a reference to the film Mud with McConaughey, and Poker Face, of course, the NBC/Peacock
Natasha Lyonne
series here with Adrian Brody. It sounded better than Mud on Your Pianist.
Dude, that would have been so funny.
And the original 1951 film did feature the Pittsburgh Pirates, and I guess they went with Angels in the Outfield and not pirates on the pirate ship or whatever else it would have been.
Great question, though.
Am I correct in thinking after 5 that they are batting perfect?
I think
Baseball
they
pun
are.
intended.
We got some good scoregami going on. We have 37 points.
And it looks like over at Team MC Mayday, they're batting more than perfect with 52.
Nice.
So,
with teams scoring more than perfect, maybe we'll have to turn the screws up as we move on. But let's go to question number 6. Question number 6 in the category of They Can't Stop All of Us. Your question, according to the Central Intelligence Agency, Homey Airport, that's Homey, and Groom Lake are the technically correct names for what site that was the focus of a major 2019 social media event?
I think this one might be referring to Area 51.
Oh, is that when all those people like rushed Area 51 and they like taped it or whatever on social media? That totally makes sense.
Sounds about right for that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, that totally does because Homey. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. Let's lock in with Area 51.
Yep, that's where everybody was trying to do the Naruto run through the gates, and we said Area 51.
Just back before when the world was still sane, the Canceling All of Us was the...
This was the sane version.
You can't prove it.
Title of the social media event, Homey Airport and Groom Lake are the names for Area 51. Great, that takes us to question number 7, and I can spell this category for you if you like, but the category name is And the question, the name of what lightly carbonated alcoholic beverage that was introduced by Coors in 1993 and discontinued in the United States in 2008 means winter in many Slavic languages?
Ken?
Yeah, we're
pretty sure we can lock it in.
You ever crack one of these and toss it back?
No, but I know Neal used to. And I've heard the horror stories.
No.
All right, Jared, do you know this one?
Oh, man. That is definitely before I started drinking. But lightly carbonated. I had a guess, but I don't think it's right because I think they still sold it. My guess was Zima, but I don't know if that would be correct.
That was my guess as well, because there is a famous, I don't know, like challenge or whatever, like the Smirnoff Ice challenge, but Smirnoff Ice wouldn't be translating into winter for anything. But I think Zima makes sense. It was sort of a laughing stock of the alcohol world, and I've seen a few of these in person.
No, you've had a Zima.
I think I have. Yeah.
So what's the flavor profile? Is it just the White Claws now? Is that what it was?
It's basically
it was like a White Claw.
It was like a White Claw. Yeah, but it was more refined.
Before its time. It was
White Claw
before
is like boozy LaCroix, though.
Zima was before its time. I'm calling it now.
The best way I can describe it is a White Claw would be like a shirtless guy at the beach with like a large chain, and a Zima would be a guy in a full business suit reenacting Jason Bateman. Or not Jason Bateman, Patrick Bateman. Or both, maybe. I don't know.
And the answer?
Yeah, I like the tagline of like a White Claw, but more refined. Discontinued in 2008, there were a few revisions or bringing it back to the marketplace, which they didn't catch. This is Zima. And as I was reading up on it, apparently it also found a home in the Japanese marketplace. It was huge in Japan right up until COVID. And I was reading about it, and they said it's because it was marketed to all genders, all ages, rather than just women in their 20s. And that felt like a real shot across the bow.
Zima is the drink for all of us.
The people's drink, if you will.
I feel like I've definitely seen it in stores more recently than that, but I guess there may have just been some stragglers or something.
They hadn't sold yet. They're from 2008.
They're like, somebody bought like a storage
Honestly,
locker.
very possible.
A lot of unfair Zimaphobia, if you ask me.
Zimaphobia is solid. All right, question number 8. Everyone's favorite category, been waiting. This is X-rated grammar. X-rated grammar. And the question, what is the actual grammatical term for a question mark followed immediately by an exclamation point? So that's question mark immediately followed by an exclamation point. Sometimes this is actually transcribed with the two punctuation symbols directly on top of one another, which is maybe a little too appropriate given the name.
Can we go ahead and lock in?
Yep.
I'm a huge fan of this particular punctuation.
You are. Jared, what do you think? I think I have an idea, but what do you think?
I believe I do know this one. I think it's called an interrobang.
Oh, perfect, because I was a little off on my. I thought it was like an intobang, but yeah, interrobang sounds a lot better. Yeah, do you use this quite often?
I do in my text for sure.
It sounds like a personal question.
Well, he's got an OnlyFans just for all of his interrobangs, so, and different fonts. But yeah, we can lock in interrobang.
Yeah, we said the interrobang.
We locked in on X-rated grammar a little faster than I anticipated, but this is the interrobang. Interrobang, that is correct. All right, question number 9. This is probably a familiar category for game show fanatics. This is a before and after, so classic Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune style before and after. The two clues will share a conjoining word or name. So the question is, the only person to serve as United States president in the 20th century without attending college, presumably because he was busy writing a nonfiction novel chronicling the 1959 murders of 4 members of the Clutter family in Holcomb, Kansas.
We can lock in.
Yes, we can.
I think I have an idea on this one, Jared. So the 1959 murders of 4 members of the Clutter family, I believe that's a Truman Capote book. In Cold Blood, I believe, or in Lukewarm Platelets. So, yeah, that would be what, Harry S. Truman Capote?
Right, yeah.
We said the same thing, Harry S. Truman Capote.
That is absolutely correct for both teams, Harry Truman Capote. And to wrap up round number 1, this is question 10, and we do have a bonus little rider attached to question 10 as well, so it's 2 parts. Question 10, the category is way down in the hole, and the question, what American metropolis got the nickname Charm City from a 1970s advertising campaign where tourists could pick up charms at each of 5 highlighted attractions? The city is the birthplace of Major League Baseball Hall of Famer Babe Ruth, former Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall, and current motivational speaker and perpetual Emmy snub David Hasselhoff. The 2-point bonus rider here, the name of this city also gives its name to a 1978 musical album from what singer-songwriter and civil rights activist whose 1992 autobiography was titled I Put a Spell on You?
I can't remember the singer off the top of my head. Funny thing is David Hasselhoff moved in childhood from that to a town not too far from here because my uncle went to high school with him. But
well, we are locked in on the main answer, and that is good enough, I say.
It works for me.
Do you have any slow motion footage of your uncle and David Hasselhoff shirtless on the beach?
Not interested.
Not that I'd want it. I was just curious.
I've got the Hoff, and that's good enough. So,
Jared,
not for me, for somebody else.
Of course, for someone else. What are you thinking, Jared?
Oof. I'm pretty stumped on this one. If I had to throw out a guess, I don't know. For some reason, St. Louis sounds good.
Oh, I could see that too. I'm leaning towards Baltimore, just because they used to call Baltimore the Charm City on The Wire, where it takes place. So I'm assuming it's Charm City, and if you're cool with it, the bonus one is throwing me for a loop a little bit, because most famously that song is sung by Nina Simone, who I believe was a civil rights activist as well, but I believe the original version of that song was sung and written by Screamin' Jay Hawkins, so I'm not really sure. I'm assuming Nina Simone would have a more famous autobiography, so I'm up to you if you want to go Nina or Screamin' Jay Hawkins for the bonus.
I would lean Nina. I honestly have not heard of either of those names, but Nina sounds better.
Okay, then we'll lock in with those answers. Nina Simone for the bonus, and then Baltimore for Charm City.
Yeah, we didn't have the second answer. We just said Baltimore.
Yeah, you mentioned the show, The Wire, the HBO show, and the category title there, Way Down in the Hole, is, of course, the theme song from The Wire, sung famously in 5 different renditions for each of the 5 seasons. This is Baltimore. And sort of ruined my swing round, which is all about Screamin' Jay Hawkins. But actually, the answer for this, number 10, is Nina Simone.
Oof. I'm glad I went that route. Okay, good.
Have they not missed a question yet?
Jared might be
You guys have been on fire.
my new favorite person and partner for the rest of my life. So I think we're doing really well. My best I've ever showed here.
Well, we have 87 points. How about you guys?
We have Jeff 104.
Yeah, I believe that sounds right.
Brutal. Well, let's move on to the swing round and hope it favors us a little better.
I mean, when you're killing it and your best isn't
killing
good
it,
enough,
you're killing it, you know?
But fortune favors the bold and the beautiful, as they say. So I'm sure you guys will come right back.
There we go. All right, let's move on to the swing round. The swing round has a theme here. I titled this super creatively, also a world capital. So I'm going to give you a clue. And the answer to each of these questions, or each of these quizzes,
Neal just closed his eyes.
See, that was where we clawed back.
And Jeff is doing a happy dance. Sorry, continue, please.
is also a world capital city. So I've got a sample for you. I'll throw it out there. If I were to ask you what the buffalo do near the range, the answer there would be
Rome.
That is Rome, correct. So homonyms are fair game, and I don't need you to tell me the name of the country, even though you might know them. I also have 13 of these, which I'll run through fairly quickly, give you the time to hash through them. But 13, one of my luckiest numbers, so I figure why not go to it. So 13 questions.
Extra points.
That's right, 13 questions in also a world capital. Number 1 is an American new wave band that gained prominence in the 1980s with hit songs Metro, Sex, and Take My Breath Away. Number 2, this is the son of King Priam and Queen Hecuba, best known for his elopement with Helen of Troy. Number 3, a film in which middle school music teacher Joe Gardner seeks to reunite his essence and his body after the two are separated. Number 4, an American author whose short stories include To Build a Fire and An Odyssey of the North. Number 5, a tabletop drinking game whose name was coined at either Bucknell or Lehigh University, depending on the source, during the early to mid 1980s. Number 6, a Billy Joel song with the lyrics, "But you know that when the truth is told, that you can get what you want or you can just get old. You're going to kick off before you even get halfway through. Ooh." Number 7, A member of the U.S. Marine Corps who was victim when Jessup ordered a code red. You're goddamn right he did. Number 8, 3 clues to get to the same answer. This is either an alternate spelling of a red Italian grape varietal, it's also a breed of rabbit, and it's also a 2017 Camila Cabello #1 musical single. Number 9, a document enclosure formed by folding in half a thick sheet of card, typically buff in color. Number 10, the first name of place kicker Santos, the first Brazilian-born player in the NFL. Number 11, it's the 10th largest city in the United States, but only the 3rd largest in its own state. Number 12, a steak dish of English origin in which the meat is wrapped in puff pastry and baked. And number 13, finally, the first name of the film director who won the 2004 Oscar for Best Original Screenplay for Lost in Translation.
All right, we have our questions. We'll be considering these after this break.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end,
What will I become?
Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
And we are back to the show. We'll get to the swing round in just one moment. But first, we'd like to, as always, thank our playtesters. They ensure that we have great games here on Triviality and make sure that the quality is up to snuff. So thanks again to the playtesters and Louis, of course. The King Playtester, is that what we say?
I think that's what's on his name tag.
Grand Playtester?
Yeah. And we also want to thank all of our Patreon supporters. Patreon is so important to what we do because it's where the bulk of our income comes from regarding the show. And it enables us to do things like go to SporkleCon and, upgrade equipment and, fix up our studio so the show sounds better.
Yeah, get extensions in our kneecaps and our shins so we can get taller.
Yeah, it does mean a lot to us, and we really can't thank our Patreon supporters enough. If everybody just gave a little teeny tiny bit, we could just keep pumping these episodes out. So please do check out our Patreon page. And Neal, what do you got?
Just wanted to say in basically 1 week's time, my next book is going to be releasing early. So it was going to be coming out October 10th, which is what I've been saying the last few weeks, but it's actually going to be coming out September 19th. So if you would like to pre-order the book, I'd very much appreciate it, or buy it when it comes out. It's called Behind the Screens, Illustrated Floor Plans and Scenes from the Best TV Shows of All Time. I know everyone listening is a trivia fanatic, obviously, and I put a ton of trivia behind the scenes and Easter eggs in this book about 35 famous TV shows that I think will help you when it comes to trivia. There's award show trivia, all that good stuff that you should kind of file away into your brain for all of your trivia needs. So if you wouldn't mind, giving a little support and pre-ordering the book or buy it as a gift for someone, it's called Behind the Screens, and I'd very much appreciate it.
All right, let's get the questions one more time, and we'll give our answers, see how we all did.
Great. So the swing round was also a world capital. I provided a lucky number 13 in Wikipedia phraseology. These are disambiguations of world capitals. And so number 1 is an American new wave band that gained prominence in the 1980s with hit songs Metro, Sex, and Take My Breath Away.
We said Berlin.
We also said Berlin.
And Berlin is the correct answer, of course, of Top Gun fame, Take My Breath Away, the recognizable number there. Number 2, the son of King Priam and Queen Hecuba, best known for his elopement with Helen of Troy.
We said Paris.
Yep, so we also said Paris.
And Paris is correct. Number 3, playing a little fast and loose here with spelling and pronunciation, but we're there. Film in which middle school music teacher Joe Gardner seeks to reunite his essence and his body after the two are separated.
Yep, I was just going to say that. That movie takes a sharp turn, but I quite enjoyed it, and that would be Soul.
We said the thing that we'd all be okay selling if need be. We said Soul.
How dare you?
And at the last moment, I removed the word Pixar from this clue, thinking that might trip us up a little bit more. This is Soul. Number 4, I'm looking for the name of an American author whose short stories include To Build a Fire and An Odyssey of the North.
We said London for Jack London.
Yeah, so this one, Neal kind of got at the very last second, but as soon as you said it, I really like the answer. We also said London.
I was kind of excited about the consternation that this clue caused, and thinking that originally the phraseology was whose novels include White Fang and Call of the Wild, but I thought the short stories might give us a little bit more pause for thought. This is London, as in Jack London. Number 5 is a tabletop drinking game whose name was coined at either Bucknell or Lehigh University during the early to mid-1980s.
This one we did not know. We just guessed Amsterdam.
Nice. Yeah, we had no idea. We thought it was the capital city of Flippy Cup.
Well, I attended University of California, Santa Barbara. We take our beer pong very seriously there, and we take exception when people refer to it as Beirut. Beirut. Number 6, I'm looking for a Billy Joel song with the lyrics, but you know that when the truth is told that you can get what you want or you can just get old. You're going to kick off before you even get halfway through. Ooh, when will you realize?
We think he's got a couple city-named songs, but we went with Vienna.
Well, neither of us were Billy Joel fans, so we just threw out the guess of Moscow.
Well, despite his age and his haggard appearance, my wife would still leave me instantly for William Joel, the Piano Man, so I had to throw in a nod to him. This is Vienna, the capital of Austria. Number 7, a member of the United States Marine Corps who was victim when Jessup ordered a code red. You're goddamn right he did.
This one sounds really familiar, but I just can't pull it, and we just said Lima.
Yep, love hearing Jack Nicholson talk about Santiago in A Few Good Men. That's what we locked in with.
Without even realizing it, Chile getting a lot of plugs here. This is the capital of Chile, Santiago. William F. Santiago, I believe. Number 8, 3 clues to get there, and I'm hoping that you guys are so good you got it with the first one, the alternate spelling of a red Italian grape varietal, and if not that one, maybe you got there with a breed of rabbit.
We said Havana.
Yep, I don't think I got it until the very end, but we also said Havana.
This is Havana, the capital of Cuba. Number 9, again, relying on homonyms here, a document enclosure formed by folding in half a thick sheet of card that is typically buff in color.
My favorite flavor of card, Manila.
I have to give props to Jared on this one. I had no idea, and he pulled this one out, and it was just a great answer. And I said, oh, that's the type of envelope that I get all the dirty pictures when I go on my PI mission. So we said Manila.
It is Manila, the capital of the Philippines. Moving on to number 10. I'm looking for the first name of place kicker Santos, the first Brazilian-born player in the National Football League.
I can't remember what team he plays on, Eagles, I think. But we said Cairo Santos.
So Neal got this one, and I believe he mentioned he might be the place kicker for the Bears.
That's why I know him.
Which surprised me that Cody Parkey is no longer there. But we also said Cairo.
This gentleman has bounced around a little bit from Kansas City and Chicago. This is
Kansas City is where it was before.
Cairo.
Yep, still with the Bears. Yep.
I knew he was at the better team before.
Then we go on to number 11, sort of our obligatory math question here. It's the 10th largest city in the United States, however, only the 3rd largest in its own state.
So going down in number by population, the largest one under 1 million, number 10 would be San Jose. So
San Jose. Well, we were kind of close. We said it was either Texas or California, and we just locked in with San Diego, the guess.
Did you say its population, it's the only what, under 1 million?
It's the first one. If you start in descending order from highest population, it is the first one under 1 million. So there's only 9 U.S. cities with a population of 1 million or greater.
Cool.
Yeah, it's fast approaching. It's, I think, just under 1 million, about 980,000. You could eliminate all Montana and North Dakota cities right away. But the largest city in California by population is Los Angeles, followed by San Diego, and then the capital of Costa Rica is San Jose. So this is San Jose, California. Then we go to number 12. This is a steak dish of English origin in which the meat is wrapped in puff pastry and baked.
You like to wrap your meat, yeah?
Yeah, in a beef Wellington. So we said Wellington, which I believe is the capital of New Zealand.
We also said Wellington, which I believe you are correct. It is the capital of New Zealand.
Still waiting for them to wrap the meat of a kiwi in pastry and bake it. And this is a Wellington. And finally, number 13, I'm looking for the first name of the director who won the 2004 Oscar for Best Original Screenplay for the film Lost in Translation.
Yeah, when you talk about popular Japanese beverages, I think for good times, right?
For relaxing times, for the 90th time.
I just like pissing Ken off. But this is Sofia Coppola.
Speaking of Santori, if you have a chance, just look up Sammy Davis Jr. Santori commercial. It's amazing. This is a place with a huge film industry. We said Sofia, as in Sofia, Bulgaria.
It is the capital of Bulgaria. Sofia is the correct answer.
After the swing round, it looks like Talk to Jeff picking up a nice 55 points, bringing their total to 142, but still in the lead. NC Mayday picking up 50 points, bringing their total to 154.
All right, we'll head then down to our next round. This is as well a general knowledge round. Again, category clues may or may not help you out. There are 10 questions here, and the first is category, but first, the credits. The question, what musical term refers to the concluding passage of a piece or movement, typically forming an addition to the basic structure? One of the most famous is a 4-minute section of the Beatles' 1968 single, Hey Jude, that brought the total length of the song to over 7 minutes.
So I don't know formally what this would be, Jeff. Usually I would call this an outro. I don't know what but first the credits means.
Is there a specific name for like having credits at the start of a film or?
I don't know. Let's just say outro. I don't know.
All right.
Yeah, so I did grow up playing piano. I think the term that comes to mind for the end of a piece is coda.
Yes, I was thinking either coda or refrain, but musical coda. Yeah, that is a good guess as well.
Okay, now you're making me second guess. Refrain, that also seems to work here.
Or maybe it's like, but first the credits, meaning like refrain from leaving because there's credits or something. I don't know.
I'm leaning towards. I don't know if that's why it's called that, but I'm starting to think refrain might be correct now.
I'm fine going with whatever. Those are two great guesses. So do you want to go refrain?
Yes, I'm good with that.
Okay, that's what we'll lock in with.
I think you might have talked him out of the right answer.
Probably.
Oh, no.
So, yes, we're actually looking for the musical term here referring to the concluding passage of a piece or movement is a coda. And coda has multiple references there, the category, but first the credits. Coda is another term for the scene that comes after the credits as well. So if you see those, the Marvel films and such, it's another use of coda.
Sorry about that, Jared. I just was throwing out random words here and I screwed us.
Question number 2. This is one heck of a category clue, so I'll spell it for you if you need. But the category is Quit Kalayin Games with My Heart. And the question is, what American military man, nicknamed Old Blood and Guts, competed in the modern pentathlon at the 1912 Olympics in Stockholm? He placed 21st on the pistol range, 7th in swimming, 4th in fencing, 6th in equestrian, and 3rd in the foot race. Good enough for 5th overall and 1st among non-Swedish competitors.
You're in the military, Jared. Do you guys talk about Old Blood and Guts often?
The name does sound familiar, but I cannot come up with who that might be. The first name that comes to mind in terms of old military men is Patton, but I think he might have been later than that.
I like where your head's at, though, because 1912, maybe he was like in early 20s or something like that, so it would have been maybe 40 to 50 range during World War II, which I'm assuming this might be like a World War II person. Patton, MacArthur, just trying to think of some other, Eisenhower maybe, I doubt that one though, but Calais makes me think of France, so maybe someone who had a campaign in France, so.
Okay, yeah, sure, we'll go with General Patton.
Yeah, I just mostly going off the time period and the nickname. I think that pertains to Patton. I'm not quite sure.
Well, we're looking for an American general, old blood and guts, and you guys were right as you talked through the ages here. In his younger days, he competed in the Olympics, but by World War II, he was then in his 50s. This is General Patton, and one of Patton's claims to fame, I guess he had several, but Calais is where the fake invasion of Normandy was staged in France. So they sent all these blow-up rafts and boats, and they put George Patton there, as he was a military legend, to try to redirect or distract the German forces from Normandy, the actual location. So I just sneak in my history teacher dorkiness there.
Kind of like our own Operation Mincemeat in a way.
That's right. All right. So let's move on to question number 3. And question number 3 is not to be confused with former Miami Heat forward and tattoo tableau Chris Anderson. And the question, what is the stage name of American rapper Brian Christopher Williams? Williams is the co-founder and public face of Cash Money Records and a member of the hip-hop duo Big Timers. His highest charting single came in 2006 with Stuntin' Like My Daddy, which reached number 21 on the Billboard Hot 100.
How are you on rappers, Jared?
Not huge on, especially this time period of rappers, and I'm also not a basketball guy, so I don't know who Chris Anderson is either.
I think I know. I can picture him. I don't know what his nickname is. I'm trying to go from the rap angle because the Big Timers, they had like a resurgence album with like Lil Wayne and Drake and stuff, and it was like a duo that like broke up. The only thing that's come to me is one of the rappers' names was Baby. I think it was like Manny Fresh and Baby, but maybe like they called Chris Anderson like Babyface or something like that because maybe he was like attractive. I don't know. So Baby's the only thing that's coming to me.
Yeah, that's better than anything I have. So.
Okay, so we're just gonna lock in with Baby.
I could have sworn his the basketball player's nickname was something like Bird related, but I couldn't get a rapper
was
with
it
that.
Birdman?
Birdman, yeah. So, Birdman?
Yeah, maybe.
All right, Birdman.
We'll consider that a lock-in with Birdman.
Sure.
Yeah, so not to be confused with former Miami Heat forward Chris Anderson. This is, if you don't know what he looks like, do a Google search. A beautiful tableau of tattoos here. And this rapper, if you read the bio of him, was also known as Baby occasionally, but the official stage name was, in fact, Birdman. All right, let's continue then. Number 4, the category for this is couch surfing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 3 separate clues, and there's one word that unifies all 3. So all 3 parts of this are unified by the same word. So I'm looking for the name of a 1996 studio album from the Dave Matthews Band. It was actually their second studio album. I'm looking for the name of former Philadelphia Athletic and the namesake of Kevin Costner's character in Bull Durham. And I'm also looking for the collective name for a group of rhinoceroses.
I think this is also one of Ken's favorite Academy Award-winning films.
And one of his favorite non-Academy Award-winning films.
Yeah. Oh, non-Academy Award-winning films?
Well, and a non-Academy Award-winning film that includes a lot of skin.
Cronenberg's Crash.
Oh.
And Crash. We said Crash.
Yeah, we locked in with Crash as well.
And Crash does sufficiently fill all 3 of those requirements. Crash is the correct answer.
I got that just from the Bull Durham one, though, because I couldn't tell you the Dave Matthews Band.
I
Obviously,
thought the
I know
Dave Matthews Band was Crush, and then I got the third clue, and I was like, Crash.
Crush into me.
That's Crash. Yeah, I got it.
That brings us to question number 5. Question number 5 in the category of Go F Yourself. And the question, according to Greek mythology, what was the name of the ship sailed by the grandson of Hermes and the husband of Medea in pursuit of the Golden Fleece?
All right, we have a very bad guess.
Yeah, if the Greek ship in question is not Theseus, I'm out.
Okay.
All right, so Jared, we're not super great on Greek mythology, so I'm trying to find some other clues in this question. What are you thinking on this one?
I cannot come up with a ship name in terms of, so Golden Fleece, that 2 things come to mind. Theseus was one of them, but For some reason, I was also thinking, was that what Jason and the Argonauts were going after, or is that something totally different?
No, I think you're totally right. I think that's Harry Hamlin in the movie. They were going for the Golden Fleece. So Jason and the Argonauts.
But yeah, in terms of ship, I have no idea.
The ship. The ship wouldn't have been named the Argonauts. That was the people.
No, it was named after a 2012 Academy Award winner.
Jeff just gave me, just like I gave them the clue earlier a little bit.
I don't think that's true, Neal. I was just showing that I knew a film thing.
Go F yourself is from the movie Argo. They kept saying that to each other. They go F yourself. So it might be Argo.
Oh, you're totally correct.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I've only seen Argo the one time, which was enough. I didn't. I got as far as Jason and the Argonauts, but I didn't presume the ship was called Argo.
Well, that kind of makes sense. The knots would be like the...
Sure, yeah. We didn't say that, though. We said it was the Goff because we were just looking at Go F Yourself, and I saw Goff.
The grandson of Hermes and the husband of Medea is Jason, and the sailors he guided were the Argonauts, and the Argonauts were the sailors on the Argo. Argo is the correct answer.
With 5 questions in the bank in the second round, Talk to Jeff and NC Mayday picking up 30 points each. So the scores are moving up equally here to 172 for Talk to Jeff, 184 for NC Mayday.
Great. As we start the second half of round number 2, then, the question number 6, the category is Band on the Run. And the question, what American sitcom that ran on NBC from 1990 to 1997 and was set at Tom Nevers Field was created and produced by former Cheers writers David Angel, Peter Casey, and David Lee, existed in the same Cheers universe, and occasionally welcomed Cheers characters to its episodes?
We can lock in, Jared.
Is this Coach by chance?
Oh, that would make sense. I like it.
Okay.
All right. Well, if you do pick up a copy of Behind the Screens, there's a fact in here about this show. This show is one of 3 shows known for Kelsey Grammer. He won an Emmy for 3 different appearances as the same character on Frasier, Cheers, and Wings. So we said Wings.
And this was set at Tom Nevers Airfield. This is the television show Wings. Question number 7 in the category, a little baseball reference here, hitting right-handed against a southpaw. The question, what military unit is the smallest, led by a commissioned officer, and typically is made up of between 20 and 50 troops? This officer is often a first or second lieutenant or equivalent rank. The word derives from a 17th century French term that now describes the large pack of riders in a cycling race.
All right, we are locked in.
So, Jared, you're in the military. The only thing I can give to this is I know hitting right-handed against a southpaw is usually what, statistics say is more advantageous for the team. So you don't want to, have the same batter right-handed go up against a right-hander, left go up against left. So I don't know what that has to do with military units, but...
Yeah, so unfortunately, I'm in the Air Force. I do believe this is referring to an Army term, which I'm somewhat familiar with, just not as familiar. However, after thinking about it a little bit, I believe the pack of riders in a cycling race, the American term that I'm familiar with is a peloton, which sounds similar to platoon, which I do believe is a small Army unit. So I would go with platoon.
Okay, that's great reasoning for me. We're going to lock that in.
And we said battalion.
So a few different ways to come at this answer. The 17th century French term that now describes a large pack of riders. This is where the stationary bike company gets its name. That is a peloton. That's an old French term. And then hitting right-handed against the southpaw. We mentioned advantageous matchups. Football teams might do this if they have one running back who is a big bruiser and another one who catches passes. You're sort of splitting up the skill sets in what's known as a platoon. Platoon is what we're looking for there.
Nice, Jared.
I've not heard that in the football sense.
All right, so we go now to question number 8. Question number 8, and the category is a card game for the new millennium. And the question, what major American city provides the name for several variants of stud poker, in which the highest scoring hand splits the pot with the highest concealed spade? It's also a popular gambling game in Scandinavia, where scores are kept rather than wagered on a hand-to-hand basis?
I have absolutely no idea, Jared. I know I mentioned Greek mythology and children's literature. This is the other weak spot of Triviality, the card game. So,
Okay, well, I have a guess, but I'm kind of iffy on this one. So I do play a little bit of poker, but I stick to mainly Texas Hold'em. But I have heard of a variant that I'm not too familiar with called PLO, or Pot Limit Omaha, which I do know is an American city. But the rules in terms of splitting the pot and the concealed spade, that doesn't sound too familiar, but I don't have a better answer. So if you're okay with it, I think we can go with Omaha.
I'm fine with that.
We also said Omaha.
Well, I do play a bit of poker on the side, and I'm actually a big fan of Pot Limit Omaha, but we are not looking for the Nebraska city. I was trying to find a way here to give you guys a little home cooking without being too obvious. Card game for the new millennium is a reference to, people know it as the Bean, but that's in Millennium Park, and this card game is Chicago.
Wow, never heard of that.
All right, so as we move into the final two questions of this round, I've been debating whether or not to reveal something, but if you have not been paying attention to your previous answers for this round, you may want to do so, as they may serve as another way to get to the answers. So that gets us to number 9, Poetry with a Twist. And the question, what American poet who passed in January of 2019 at the age of 83, was renowned for her work that celebrated the natural world with sincere wonderment? Her collection of poems, American Primitive, earned her the 1984 Pulitzer Prize. And in 2007, the New York Times described her as, quote, far and away the country's best-selling poet, end quote.
Jared, I know the theme he's talking about, so I'm just
I've got the theme too.
Going through it.
Well, we were trying to fit this secret theme that we figured out. We can't do it, so we're just going to take a guess at Angelou.
Jared and I had a conversation. We didn't know who the poet was. We went completely by the theme of the game. And going through the unused answers for the theme, we're just going to lock in with a last name, and we're going to say Oliver.
And I do think that this is probably one of the most challenging questions in the entire game. I was hoping to help you along with the category, which is Poetry with a Twist, and that is Oliver, as in the poet Mary Oliver. And finally, that takes us to question number 10, which I'm beginning to think the category clue is very apt, and that category is, please wrap this round up ASAP. And the question, what classic animated character with a heyday from 1959 to 1964, shared a house with his co-star in the small town of Frostbite Falls, Minnesota, wore a pair of blue aviator goggles on his head, and used the catchphrase, "Hokey Smoke." The character was voiced by June Foray, who also provided the voices of Natasha Fatala, Nell Fenwick, and a handful of other female characters.
Okay, luckily Jared and I knew the theme and it helped us out here. We think that this is Rocky.
Yeah, of Rocky and Bullwinkle fame, we also chose Rocky.
Again, a few small Easter eggs in this clue. Provided the voices of Natasha, of course, who was partnered with Boris. And wrap this round up ASAP, maybe the singer and artist ASAP Rocky there. This is Rocky.
And to those who haven't figured out the category yet, do you want to give it up?
Yeah, I was going through figuring out a way I could tie all 10 of these questions together, and it was occasionally like fitting a square peg in a circular hole or other way around. But these are all the names of Best Picture Academy Award winners. So these are all Best Picture films that also satisfy these 10 clues.
Speaking of satisfaction, Neal.
Speaking of satisfaction is correct, Ken.
You must have some.
We do have a little bit. Normally we can't get any, but we do have some today because at the end of regulation, it looks like Talk to Jeff picking up just 10 points, bringing their total to 182 to wager in the final round, and NC Mayday picking up 40 points, extending their lead to 224. What are our categories today?
Excellent. We'll head into the final round like a couple of Rolling Stones, but your categories here. I'm going to give you category clues, and then I'll also, just because I think it'll help you with your wagering a little bit, tell you sort of what ballpark you're in for the categories as well. So category number 1 is Ghost Protocol. This is a food question. Question number 2 is Rogue Nation. It's an international relations question. Question number 3 is Fallout. That's a music question. Number 4 is Dead Reckoning Part 1. That's a geography question. And question number 5, or category number 5, is Dead Reckoning Part 2. This is a multiculturalism question.
Our wagers are now locked in. Let's go ahead and get those questions.
All right, we're looking at question number 1 in the category of Ghost Protocol. In 2007, the Bhutan ghost pepper was certified as the world's hottest pepper, registering more than 1 million units on the Scoville scale. Its record has since been eclipsed twice, first by the Trinidad Scorpion Butch Tea pepper in 2011, and most recently in 2013, by what grimly perilous variety that remains the hottest in the world? Question number 2, in the category of Rogue Nation. Near the end of the Clinton administration, Secretary of State Madeleine Albright announced that the term rogue state would be abolished in favor of the phrase state of concern. In the aftermath of the September 11th attacks, George W. Bush rebooted the concept when he referenced Iraq, Iran, and North Korea with what 3-word phrase? Question number 3, in the category of Fallout. A single from Fall Out Boy's 2015 album, American Beauty, American Psycho, shares a name with what actress who won MTV's Best Fight Scene in a Movie Award in back-to-back years, 2004 and 2005. Category number 4, Dead Reckoning, Part 1. The shores of the Dead Sea are the lowest land point on Earth at 430 meters below sea level. The Dead Sea is bordered on its western shore by the West Bank and Israel, and on its eastern shore by what country? And category number 5, Dead Reckoning, Part 2. In celebration of Dia de los Muertos, Mexican families built ofrendas, or altars to their loved ones. They also commonly will scatter the colorful petals of what flower on these altars in cemeteries with the belief that they could help attract ancestors to family homes.
All right, we have our questions, and we will be right back with our answers after this break. And we are back with our answers. But since we have a little Mission Impossible theme going, what was that Philip Seymour Hoffman says to Tom Cruise?
Tell me where the rabbit's foot is. I'm going to find her. I'm going to hurt her. I'm going to find your wife.
Thank you, Neal.
Yeah.
And that is a threat for the final round here. We have wagered 30s all the way down, and your wagers are?
We wagered 20 on all of them except for Fallout and Dead Reckoning Part 1. We wagered 25.
All right, so we will have to see how this game turns out. Let's have the questions one more time.
All right, here are your questions, should you choose to accept them. In 2007, the Bhutan ghost pepper was certified as the world's hottest pepper, registering more than 1 million units on the Scoville scale. Its record has since been eclipsed twice, first by the Trinidad Scorpion Butch Tea pepper in 2011. Might be the name of the next movie after Dead Reckoning Part 2, by the way.
Right.
And then it was again eclipsed in 2013 by what grimly perilous variety that remains the hottest in the world?
We said the Carolina Reaper.
Yep, we agree. We said Carolina Reaper.
And Carolina Reaper is the correct answer. Question number 2, Rogue Nation. Near the end of the Clinton administration, Secretary of State Madeleine Albright announced that the term rogue state would be abolished in favor of the phrase state of concern. In the aftermath of the September 11th attacks, George W. Bush rebooted the concept when he referenced Iraq, Iran, and North Korea with what 3-word phrase?
Yep, I kind of remember this, and I think you said axis of evil.
Sure. Yeah, we said the same thing. Axis of evil.
Not to be confused with my 2016 Ford Explorer that broke down last week with an axle of evil issue. This is the axis of evil. Number 3, Fallout. A single from Fall Out Boy's 2015 album, American Beauty, American Psycho, shares a name with what actress who won MTV's Best Fight Scene in a Movie Award in back-to-back years, 2004 and 2005.
Yep, that's probably for Kill Bill and My Super Ex-Girlfriend. We said Uma Thurman.
It's weird, though. That song just has a crazy preoccupation with the other Tarantino movie that she's in. So.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yep, we thought it was what Quentin Tarantino called an incredible feat. Uma Thurman.
And this is Uma Thurman. Question number 4, Dead Reckoning Part 1. The shores of the Dead Sea are the lowest land point on Earth at 430 meters below sea level. The Dead Sea is bordered on its western shore by the West Bank and Israel, and on its eastern shore by what country?
Yeah, so I believe this is in the kind of south of the country, so not up towards Syria. So we guessed it was bordering with Jordan.
So yeah, we talked about this one a little bit. We weren't too sure, just trying to think of what countries were in that area, but we also said Jordan.
Had I needed to provide another clue, I probably would have gone with 6-time NBA Finals MVP, but this is Jordan. And finally, number 5, final question of today's game. In celebration of Dia de los Muertos, Mexican families built ofrendas, or altars, to their loved ones. They also commonly will scatter the colorful petals of what flower on these altars and in cemeteries, with the belief that they can help attract ancestors to family homes.
We were pretty sure these are marigolds.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, we couldn't think of the name of the flower. We were trying to think about cocoa, and we knew it was like a gold or orangish flower, so we just said dandelion, just as a guess.
Having both a 5-month-old and a 3-year-old at home, I've seen this film Coco a few times, and that was the point of reference here. These colorful orange flowers are marigolds.
Okay, folks, what an ending to today's game. The team of NC Mayday was going a little conservative with their betting. They thought if they could just get 110 by batting perfect, that they could pull out the win, but unfortunately, with missing the last question, they're only going to get 70 points, bringing their total to 294. But it pays to go big or go home, because Talk to Jeff got all 150 of their wagered points, bringing them to 332 and making them today's cream of the crop.
Odd balance, off balance. Doesn't matter. I'm better than you are.
Man, I didn't think that was possible. What a incredible performance by you guys.
Yeah, you were dominant through the whole thing. I got to give you guys credit.
Yeah, no, it was what a comeback story from you guys. One of Chris Pratt's favorite words, and yeah, we had a good game, we thought, all the way up until here. Jared, you were such a good partner. I felt like we were in sync the entire time, and it just kind of fell apart at the end, unfortunately.
Yeah, 100%. I think we definitely complemented each other's weaknesses there, but unfortunately, that one last question. But no, great time. Thank you, guys.
Wait, aren't you supposed to compliment strengths, not weaknesses?
I don't.
Sorry, strengths. Yeah.
I don't know if you were being funny there.
We're just complimenting each other the whole time. But Jared, you were such a great partner. I'll play with you anytime. I feel like you made me feel a little bit smarter because we had such a great camaraderie here. So any shout outs, last words before we let you go today?
Sure, yeah. I'll give a shout out to my old trivia team that I used to play with, my friends Alec and Monica. It's been a while, so missed you guys and really enjoyed playing trivia with y'all. Also want to shout out one of my friends, Becca. We were supposed to go to play some Harry Potter trivia tonight. Unfortunately, with this taping, we could not. But next time, we'll definitely get out there.
All right. Well, yeah, shout out to all of those, and feel free to have Becca, Expelliarmus on us, or whatever the term is, to get rid of us or something. So, Ken, you guys were victorious, and the only way that we can, compliment you is the questions were even better than your performance, and that's all down to Corey. So, Corey, thank you so much for putting this game together. Any shout outs, anything you'd like to say before we bid you adieu today?
Yeah, thank you to all the friends and family who try to refrain from rolling their eyes too hard when I go down a pun path or try and come up with questions for these games. And then all the local teams at the Slanted Tree here in Fairfield, sort of my bi-weekly haunt where I go and run games. So if you're in the neighborhood, stop on by.
Yeah, you could definitely tell compliments to you that you're a well-seasoned trivia writer, because I thought that the questions were just very precisely written.
Top notch.
Yeah. Welcome back anytime.
Yeah. As Mark Twain says, if I had more time, I would have written a shorter letter. And I thought your questions were very well put together. And as someone who will be writing an upcoming game very soon, I hope to
take some inspiration,
match that quality.
Yep. Well, you guys had us in the first 9/10, gotta admit. But that'll be the show for today. And of course, we want to thank our network, Airwave Media. You can find them at airwavemedia.com, and they have some great shows such as Culture Kids, Pulse of the Planet, and Unspookable. Woo! And that'll do it for the show. Once again, want to thank our guests. Want to thank Jeff, Neal, Matt, wherever he is again.
DJ Scat Cat Convention.
That's right. And I am Ken, and that was Triviality.